Let's be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
F.M.P. Radio, we keep it 100.
Yeah, man. Y'all know that song by now. If you don't, you know it is the top of the hour. 3 past to be exact, wherever it is you standing. And this is the Ask Anita Astley Hour. Yes, we do have the relationship therapist in the building. She comes through to give us all her oh my goodness, Jesus, advice. All of her advice and guidance. And I'm running off just a few hours of sleep, so pardon my speech.
That's
but
okay.
Anita, we've had withdrawals. Yes, it's been a while, hasn't it? We missed you. I know we had so much to do, and I apologize we couldn't do the show last week, but we're in here building in Studio 42. And yeah, we are back, though. That's all that matters, people. We are here. Anita's with us. And Stamp normally joins us, but he is on a plane back home. If you were live with us this weekend, you saw Stamp in the building doing his thing here with Mama Mystic, who just left as well. But yeah, this is Anita's hour now. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what is on the agenda that we haven't seen each other in a week? What can we talk about this week?
There's always so much to talk
I
about
know,
when
right?
it comes to relationships, right? So I'm
Yes.
also live on my Instagram, which is Ask Anita Astley. Thank you guys for joining me.
Yeah,
All these
go
peeps
there.
are joining. Thank you guys for joining me today. You
Yes.
guys have a picture of the YouTube screen. Well, first I want to say Mystic is amazing.
Isn't she
just
though?
left.
Yeah.
But another example of great collaboration and relationships. So when she was talking about some of the people that she met at the hair show,
Yeah.
and I was listening to the stories about mothers and daughters, and then fathers and sons
Right.
collaborating on
Right.
businesses. I think, okay, wow, that
Amazing.
speaks volumes
Yes.
about their relationship. And I think,
Right.
wow, what a great way to collaborate as mother, father, in the family and in the unit. And I'm always happy to hear
Sure.
that families can do stuff like that. Because, along with that comes a lot of complications and dynamics and conflict, I would think.
It can, right?
Yes,
You would
it can.
yeah, like
well,
you
it
said,
probably
think
it
that.
does, because I think all relationships have conflict. Because intimacy breeds conflict, so it's only
Yeah.
normal that they would. But at the end of it, that they can produce some kind of result, and it's an ongoing, evolving process. So I always
Yeah.
love to see that, and I
Okay.
was so excited to
You
hear
good with
her
the mic?
stories.
You love fidgeting with that
Well,
mic,
you
don't you?
guys, yeah, it's because I'm
You want it
small.
up a little more? No, I got
it's
you.
okay. I'm gonna
But
hold it up.
No, I'll put it there, but you got to
'Cause see how it's falling.
once it's in the right, yeah. But once it's in the
Yeah.
right spot, you
All
don't
right.
want to
Are you
keep
gonna-
moving it.
okay,
I'm
so
gonna do it.
leave
You go
here.
ahead and
No,
keep
no,
talking.
I'm gonna
I
leave
got
it.
you.
I'm gonna leave it here. Maybe
I
for
got
next
you.
week. All right.
You're driving me nuts.
Well, it's driving me nuts, this microphone. But yes, hey guys, welcome. I have some of my friends on my Instagram that are following. Guys, send me some questions, and you guys can also call in now at 872-256-2017. Thank you. Perfect. Now, as you guys know, I prefer to have the conversation. I prefer to talk to you. Your text messages are also acceptable.
Yes.
But I prefer the conversation. So
and YouTube, they can comment as well.
Yes, on YouTube
YouTube.com/FMP radio.
Yes.
You can ask questions there. Go to her live IG.
Hey guys.
Use the number she just mentioned to you to text or call. But yeah, we would like to have you call in and talk live too. Let Anita pick your brain real quick.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
guys. You don't need an appointment, no insurance, no nothing.
You're
I'm all
saving
here
a
for
lot
you.
of money.
A lot of money. All right. So I had posted this morning on my Instagram page, and I'm going to start doing this on Mondays and Wednesdays. Post a little bit about some therapeutic concept, which I want to elaborate on when I come on the show on Mondays
Sure.
and Wednesdays, so we can learn a little bit more. And you guys can probably relate to some of the stuff. You will be able to relate to it. I guarantee it,
Yeah.
because that's why I put it out there. And then we can have a conversation about it today. So this
Nice.
morning I had put on the concept of reframing. Do you have any idea what that is?
Reframing. No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of refraining, which
Yeah.
is not to say something where you refrain, right? But
Yeah.
reframing.
Reframing
I would,
something.
me personally, as a
Yeah,
guy,
take
I'm
a
thinking
guess.
of a doorway, reframing a door,
Yes.
reframing a picture.
Okay, I love that because it's actually close.
Okay.
Pretty good, Gino.
Thank
I'm
you. Hey, I've been around a little bit.
Yeah, so reframing is, if you think about it as a picture frame, we often look at something that happens in our life
Right.
through a certain lens. And if you
All
want,
right.
I
Okay.
like your analogy of the frame. And of course, it's part of the word.
Yeah.
Is we want to switch the frame because sometimes we're just stuck with one image of what's going on, one
Yes.
perception of what's going on, the frame. And we need to do this is a cognitive behavioral technique that therapists use to attack some of the distortions that we have about things that are going on in our relationships.
Oh wow.
So we
Okay.
try to help them to reframe, meaning
Sure.
to use your analogy, let's take a different frame and look through that frame instead of the one
Sure.
that you were looking through before,
Okay.
because maybe how you're thinking about it
It's
is
not.
not accurate. There's a
Gotcha.
distortion that's taking place that's causing you
Okay.
to have some anxiety, some depression. And that's what happens when we look at something and it's distorted in some kind of way. And of course,
Right.
we don't see that. We sometimes need somebody else to point that out to us.
Sure.
That can cause a lot of anxiety. It can lead to depression. And, all those distortions, they come from this place in our brain,
Okay.
negative thinking. I'm sure you
Right.
have had that. I've had that.
Negative thinking from the medulla oblongata, right?
Yes,
That's our negative part. Yeah.
negative thinking, and that comes from distorting what's going on in our lives. If we're looking at a relationship, it
Yeah.
happens all the time. I hear stories all the time in my office
I
about
bet.
one person comes in, tells me, their side of the story. The next week I see their partner and I get a very different story. And neither one of them can really relate to the other one's version.
Really?
So I'm saying, okay, can we switch frames? Can we look at this in a different way so we
Yeah.
can solve the problem?
I got you.
Yeah.
What you have to do sometimes just in life, period. When you're doing something,
Absolutely.
you
Anything.
change the picture of it. If you're not figuring it out, try to take a different. I use the term like take a different look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perception. But we
Yeah.
often get stuck in that. Like I found myself sometimes stuck in the, sometimes in relationships, stuck at looking at it in a very linear fashion. And I need to, we all do that. It's a habit because we want to prove that our perspective is the right one. So we also,
Sure.
all these things that I talk about are interconnected and intertwined. So
Sure.
when we're looking at it from that lens, we often feel that we have the answer. Our view is the right view, and our partner's view is the one that's distorted and
Gotcha.
incorrect.
Okay.
So that's a lot of what reframing is about. And what happens what do you think happens when what ways can we distort the reality? What do you think? People get into different kinds of dynamics with each other.
I think you could distort things by obviously not communicating. If you're not a big communicator,
Mhm.
you're going to assume things. I think assumption leads to distortion because
Yes.
if you assume something or you don't ask the other person first for their explanation and just react off of your own thought, that can distort the
Of what's actually going on,
situation
right?
or
The
right.
dynamic. So
Yeah.
so that's a really good example. Some of the other ones are like, and I've used to be like this, and it took a lot of work for me not to be like this.
Okay.
All or nothing, extreme thinking, right?
Ooh, okay.
Either you hate me or you love me. Like there's
Okay.
nothing in
No
between.
in between.
And
huh?
that's very distorted thinking because there's a lot in
In
between.
between.
But when I was younger,
You
that's the
felt
way
as
I
if-
used to think.
Right. My
the-
way or the highway type
Yeah.
thinking. Okay.
Well, exactly. It's very black and white. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a good example of this when people join a gym,
Yeah.
they go all out, exercising every single day, 2 times a day. And then what happens a month later?
Uh-huh.
The gym is empty, nobody's in there.
Yeah.
So I think we
see
can
that a lot.
we can all relate to that. The other one is blaming, thinking that there's only
Ah.
one reason something is going wrong.
Never taking the blame. Always shooting it out, right? It's
Well, it's
always someone
linear.
else's fault.
It's somebody else's fault,
Yeah.
and possibly there could be another causal effect that's going on that could
Yeah.
cause the problem.
That's
They're
probably
not-
a good one though, right? Because if you
Mm.
reframe when you're thinking that it's someone else's fault, the reframing could probably become that you know it's your fault, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So somebody also thank you guys for posting this. I
Hey.
believe impatience can also play into perceptual distortion as well. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because we're so impatient that we want to have an answer to the problem that we're caught up in.
Yeah.
And usually that answer is the one that we have.
Right.
It's
Right.
not your partner or your friends or somebody else's. You've answered your own question.
Sure.
And I always say to people, well, maybe we need to ask the person that you're having this problem with, maybe,
Sure,
and then we
sure.
can clear up some of the distortions you might be having in your head.
Makes sense.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you think of, I've had this happen with a friend or a girlfriend or whatever, where I've already got it all figured out. And
Okay.
then, through
And-
life and experience, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I need to pick up the phone and have a conversation and ask this person what is really going on
Yeah,
here.
right. The communication
The
part.
communication part. So it's all tied
Yeah.
in. But this is what people do when they're looking at something only from their perspective,
Sure.
from their frame.
Makes
We
sense.
need to help switch that with somebody else's
Yeah.
frame, right?
Okay. Okay.
The other one I want to talk about is catastrophic thinking. Well, that's pretty
I
self-explanatory.
think so. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
just
What
what
do you think?
just thinking way too big of something, like trying to overanalyze it, maybe. Is that destructive thinking?
Well,
Like trying to-
Well, this is a major problem in cognitive distortion of what's going on. Is catastrophic thinking is everything is a catastrophe,
Oh, okay.
right? I'm sure you've met people like that in
Yeah,
your
we
life.
call them like Debbie Downers.
Yes, yes.
Eeyore types.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Poor Eeyore. He gets
I
a
know.
bad rap
Hey,
for that.
he's dead. Yeah, he's the one we use as an example, though, when someone
Yes.
is having that mopey feeling or mopey attitude
All the time.
All the time, it's like, woe
Yes.
is me.
Yes.
Oh, woe is
Anything
me.
happens in your life, right away you go
It's
from 1
not-
to 10,
Yeah.
catastrophe.
Oh, I kind of know somebody that does
And you're
that.
thinking, wait a minute, how did you get to 10 so quickly?
Yeah.
And why does it have to be a catastrophe?
Right.
There's so many other things in between that could be the reason that the
Mhm.
situation is the way it is.
Yes.
Catastrophic thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
That's it.
people like that.
Yeah, man.
Couples do that to each other all the time.
I'm
The other
sure.
one is discounting any kind of positivity in your life.
So
It's-
is that when you get some positivity, but you think it's
You can't see it
okay?
because your frame is all
Like,
about the
oh, they didn't-
negativity.
Okay, right. What is that? Yeah, when I know what you mean. When someone gives a compliment and then it's like, what are you really trying to get to?
Yes.
Like, what do you really want?
What do you
What are
want?
you
What's the
looking
hidden
for?
agenda?
Yeah, right. For instance, today's world, when you tell a woman a compliment, it is almost looked at as sexual harassment to say you have nice hair
Yes.
or you're wearing a nice dress. That is
Isn't
in
that
some
sad
cases
that you can't
in-
give a compliment and you
that's
feel like
in
that?
the workplace, that's now considered sexual harassment
Yes,
to
it
say
is.
you look good today. You're
Yeah.
very beautiful. I could get fired for that.
You could.
My mother taught me to do this shit though.
Mhm.
Compliment a woman, hold the door open for her. Those are things that are okay before you get to the part where it's not okay.
It's not okay.
But why today are we thinking that this isn't okay to say that you look nice or you have nice hair, or even to say that my wife read in something where about sexual harassment in the workplace, even to just refer to a woman as like, hey girls, or like, hey lady,
Yes.
that's sexual harassment now. I mean,
Well, it's
what?
because the pendulum has swung completely the other
Shoot.
way, and
Yeah.
in some level, that's distorting, I think, what is actually going on. Right?
Yeah, they need to reframe.
They need to reframe, but it's because of all the other negative things that happen with women in the workplace that now we've gone overboard. Right.
Right.
I don't mind hearing if somebody says, "Oh, I like your outfit," and I think, "Okay, am I feeling sexually harassed?" Not really. I mean, come on.
Right.
I'm not feeling sexually harassed. I'm like, "Okay,
Right.
where'd you get it?" I'm like, "Okay, I got it here. Good."
Right.
I'm flattered.
No,
Thank
your
you so much.
harassment sometimes is a little different.
Yeah, I got different harassment.
Right?
Let's talk about it at the end of the
Sure.
show.
Yeah, we'll leave that out. But right. Yeah.
Oh, you got to
You
always
get a
bring
few
it back.
DMs every day that you
we
have to
do, we
send
do.
back,
Yeah, the
or
dick
yeah.
pics.
Oh, well, see, you said it. I was just trying to say
the dick-
broadly.
I thought you were talking about something else.
Well, I was talking about that. Those are the harassing.
They
things
are
that you do
harassing,
get.
yeah. But that's so different to being able to give a compliment.
Well,
You
no,
can-
this is
yes.
the other side of this.
It's
Right.
totally the other
I'm
side.
talking that men who were taught to respect and compliment a woman can now be looked at as a sexual harassment
Yeah.
case, and I think that's just totally wrong because Not all of us are after your panties. Not all of us want that. There are diseases and things to go through before I feel like sex should be involved anyway, and yeah, you just need to, I don't know, cancel culture is a thing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I don't have to be in the single world dating and relationship wise, but thank God for you who can put it together and kind of help people figure that out, because if I had to date today, I'd be a mess. I wouldn't know how, because
Yes.
everything I'm doing and I was taught to do is what I'm hearing is wrong. So if I was to go out and try to date,
Mm.
I'd feel so skeptical, I guess, or I just
You would
wouldn't
be
want to.
hesitant.
Yes, there you go. I'd be
hesitant.
hesitant to do these things because are you going to look at me and say, what a fucking jerk, when I'm
Yes.
trying to pay the bill
Yes.
or open the door or just anything nice?
Yeah. And you
For
and I
instance.
have, I think your son is similar age to my
16.
son. Okay. My
Yeah.
son is 20, and we had to have this conversation. And it
Sure.
has to do with what we're talking about in terms of reframing the situation to dating, right? When he
Yeah.
started to date, I said, honey, you have to be careful, because everything you do can be misinterpreted. It can be reframed or distorted in a very it's distorted
Yes.
in a very negative way. Like you were saying, opening the door or offering to pay for the dinner date, whatever
Right.
it is that you're doing, offering to pay for that. And then he did say to me, he's a child of this generation, and said, "Well, Mom, why would I, open the door or pay the bill? I mean, what about
See?
feminism? Don't women want equal rights?"
See?
But I had to have a talk with him. I mean, it was a good question to
Yeah.
ask me, because he's
Sure.
confused. The
Sure.
roles and the lines, boundaries are confusing, I
Sure.
think, at this stage in life for young people, and also for us. And yeah, thank God we're not dating.
Right.
So I said to him, listen, you can still be chivalrous. You can still be a gentleman. That has nothing to do with being
Feminism
sexist or
and
feminism. I
yeah.
said, just be a gentleman, and you
Right.
can open doors and do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So his thinking, his cognitive distortion, I had to attack that and say, no, let's give it some perspective, and
Right.
let me share my perspective with you as a woman who's also a social feminist. So I don't,
Yeah.
and I think men should open the door when they see a woman, help her with her bags. And I have to share
Sure.
this with
Yeah,
you,
say
because I
it.
was at Trader Joe's, and this
Okay.
guy, I had all my stuff with me, and I put this on my Instagram page, and it was beautiful. He said to me, because I was struggling, and he helped me. It's
Okay.
related. And he said to me, chivalry is dormant. It is not dead. And I love that.
Okay.
So, and he was an
Chivalry
older
is
guy.
dormant, not
It's
dead.
not dead.
It is dormant.
It's
It's
dormant.
very dormant because we're
And
still do it.
we still do it, and we should. And
Yeah.
it needs to come back to life.
Oh, I had to teach a lesson
Yes.
to some young kids when you just mentioned how your son was like, "Why should I open the door?"
Yes.
And we were walking into a building, and we watched two young males and a young woman walking into the building, and the young woman opened the door for the men, and we immediately stopped that. We went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Hey, come back
Whoa.
out here!" And then the guys looked at us and the girl, and then we're like, "No, you two open the door and let her walk through." And then we told the young lady, "Why would you allow these guys to do this? You should be letting them open the door." And she just, "No, I thought it was just normal." Like, no. And then the guys too,
different,
we
yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
But
come
it
on.
also comes from your upbringing.
Yeah.
If you don't have that in the home, it's gonna spill out to the street. And that's what I always tell parents:
Yes.
stop giving us your problems.
Right.
Handle your shit at home, and then in the streets we won't have to be so damn angry because you're raising kids to not understand.
Oh, we have a comment from
Uh-oh.
it's from John. He was
What's
on
up,
my
John?
show last week.
Okay.
He is a police officer in Milwaukee. Thank you
Okay.
for all that you do for us.
Yes.
He's saying it's not appreciated nowadays. That might be correct, but I'll tell you, as a mother of a 20-year-old, I tell my son that some things need to stay the same.
Right.
Okay.
For real. If it ain't
Chivalry,
broke, don't
yes.
fix it.
Yes, chivalry should be alive today, and women appreciate it. Girls appreciate it. I have a daughter too, and I tell her, men should open boyfriend. She doesn't have a boyfriend yet, but I
Sure.
set some expectations for her
Yeah.
because I don't want her, this distortion to go on that opening a door for her is something that's negative. So I have to
Right.
give it a different frame to say, no,
Yeah.
you can still be have equal rights and all that kind of stuff. And a boyfriend should open the door for you. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that.
And like John said, it's not appreciated, but you've been a therapist quite a while. when did you notice a change, like around a certain period of time, a year or so, like, or an era, I guess? When did it change? When did the appreciation go the opposite way?
Well, I
Because I
think
just kind of like, it just came out of nowhere for me. I
yeah,
just start hearing these
yeah.
things on the internet and personal people. But when did it actually like change?
Change.
Yeah.
It's gradual. It's not something that we just wake up to. I
Well,
think
no,
probably we
right.
do. It's gradual, but I have seen this shift probably in the last 10 years
That's what
to,
I mean.
yeah, in the
Okay.
last 10 years, slowly starting to change. But I think there's just a lot of role confusion between men and women. So it's not just one way, it's both ways. We're at a stage in society where we don't know what our roles are supposed to be. And
Right.
so we're trying different things.
Okay.
And that's where conflict comes in. I work with couples all the time because now most households are dual income households, correct? That I know of, and people coming to see me for therapy, which puts a lot of
Yeah.
stress on the family,
Right.
on the structure, when especially when there's kids involved.
Right.
And then men and women kind of don't know what to do. Like they know they're both going out to work. They know
Yeah.
there's going to be some food that's for, has to come on the table.
Right.
So they have very different means to getting to those ends, but those traditional expectations are still there too. So
Okay.
can you imagine you both work, but you're still expecting a lot of households still do where the woman is going to put some
Either
food
cook or
and do
yeah,
all
where's
that kind
my
of stuff,
meal?
even though it's
Yeah.
2021 and we
Yeah.
proclaim to be progressive and liberal.
Right.
It all still falls on the female. And that's not to say that men are not helping. They don't know what they're supposed to do.
Right.
There's this confusion because traditionally they were supposed to go out and, do that. And women were supposed to stay home and do that. And
Right.
but now it's like amalgamation of all these things. And we need to have a conversation about it too. Okay, wait a minute. Let's define what the roles are here
Sure.
so we can minimize some of the distortions that are taking place in people's heads.
Yes.
So again, it goes back to
Agreed.
get that out of your head and start
Right.
talking, right? It's got to go
Right.
from here to here,
here,
having
yeah.
a dialogue so we don't have these distortions going on in people's heads.
Right.
Reframe the situation because our roles now have been reframed, but we have not talked about them really.
Right. And we don't. Communication. You even said it on the first shows that you were doing with us where you get these couples come in and they say, you tell them, have you guys had a conversation? And they go, yeah, I was
No,
texting.
no.
And it's like, that's not a conversation. So yeah, it makes sense.
A lot of miscommunication.
Talk to each other. But that's true. And then so if it's happened within the last 10 years, then is it safe to almost say it's because of technology? Maybe because 10 years or so is just about the birth of Facebook, Instagram, just about. It's been around, but what I mean by the birth of it is when it got into everyone's hands, because cell phones weren't easily accessible for a while. They were expensive. It was a different internet and everything. But now we got Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all these
inundated,
and they're very young. They are about 10 to 12 years old. Is that safe to say that the way the perception is on social media is why our young kids are thinking like your young son thinking, why do I hold the door? Why? She wants equal rights. Equal rights is not about holding a door or paying a check. It's the political aspect, voting rights, the fact that you guys were held back as far as being able to vote and having a say in the business world. I don't appreciate women being paid less than men when they're doing the same damn job, like in an office situation. So that's where equal should be thought of. But now your son thinks equal rights is she can open the door for her fucking self. Like, wait, no, that's chivalry, right?
Yes, that's chivalry.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination. It's multifactorial to me. So there's the women's movement, and I'm a social feminist, so I'm in no way suggesting that we should go back and undo all of that. No way.
Right.
I'm just trying to clarify the two, what they mean. So with my son, I had to clarify to him what the difference between the two were and that they're not mutually exclusive. So I do believe the perceptions on social media probably tainted some of that for him because he is of that generation. That's his life. Like he doesn't know a life without an iPhone.
And they'll tell you without my phone there is no life.
There is no life.
What?
So again, it defines sadly all these platforms tell us what we're supposed to do and what our life is supposed supposed to look like,
That's true.
right? Which again goes back to reframing reality.
Yes.
And sadly, people buy into that's reality. And I say,
Sure
honey,
do.
that is not reality.
No.
It's very distorted reality.
Sure.
And we have to reframe our life. I mean, that is an amazing conversation, and we should really talk about that, give a full hour to that. But what I want to say on continue on that line of thinking is that's distorted reality. It's not real, and people get very anxious and depressed over what they see on social media. And I have to sometimes bring them back. Well, a lot of times bring them back to say this is a snapshot of somebody's life. It is not their life. And so far, a lot of the research, longitudinal research on social media and the impact of it on people is that actually in the long run contributes to people feeling more disconnected, depressed, and anxious. And you would think it's the opposite because people are constantly connecting, but they're connecting in a way that's not really healthy for them. They're connecting in a way where they don't see, unless you're using FaceTime, but we still need that face-to-face human contact. I know COVID, it's an exception, right? It's a blurb. It's a blurb in our history, right?
Blurb. Wow,
but
I haven't heard that one in a
blurb
while.
in our history. But we really need to get back to like this, interacting with human beings. That is never going to be replaced with social media and those platforms. So that's a distortion in people's minds, and it's cognitive reframing to know that's not reality. This is what reality is.
Right. Yes. I agree with that. You gotta change the narrative, or else it's just not. So how does it get better? How do we change that? What do we do to start fixing this?
Well, first we have to be aware of it and recognize it. So I always say awareness is the first step to, being able to admit to ourselves that maybe I am stuck in this very distorted way of looking at things. And that's hard to do because we are sometimes just stuck there and we need somebody else to point it out. But I'll tell you, if a lot of people in your life are telling you that, it's not them, it's you.
Oh, really?
So you need to look in the mirror, right? If it's not you, if it's everyone, then it's got to be you. You've heard that before, right?
Exactly.
So the first thing we need to do is hopefully to come to some level of awareness that that's what's going on. And maybe somebody in our life is going to point that out to us. And rather than being very defensive and saying, no, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because sometimes that's the reaction. Maybe we need to stop and pause and think about it to say, okay, maybe I am. So the first and the second rule is to become aware. The second one is ask yourself the question, could there be another way of looking at the situation? What are some of the other reasons that perhaps John is not talking to me? Rather than having this fantasy in my head, oh my God, one of the most common ones today is if I text you, Gino, oh my God, Gino has not replied to my text. Oh my God, he must hate me. He must be mad at me for what happened between us last time.
And I get that from dudes. Like,
do you really?
Oh my God, you would be surprised that
if
I don't answer an or a text message right away, what's wrong? And it's like, what do you mean what's wrong? Like, well, you didn't text me. I sent you that text hours ago. What the fuck? Like, no, I'm not rushing to answer you. And I'll get to it. It's because I have a lot to do.
Of course,
and I apologize if I don't respond fast enough. I will always respond. It may not be as quick as you may want it to. And that's where they need to reframe, because what if someone takes a few hours or so to respond or whatever, it can't always be you, right? It's sometimes got to be something else. And but I get that. If I send a text, why didn't you answer me? Or I just texted you a minute ago, what happened? I mean, man, I can't be watching a movie or having dinner with my family or on the road. Like, I don't like to text and drive. So if you text me while I'm driving, right. Number one, you shouldn't. It's against the law. Number two, it's I was going to say very dangerous, can lead to death or the death of someone else. That's one thing for me. If I was to be texting and cause an accident and I would like hurt you or someone else's family member, it would haunt me for the rest of my life. That's something I would not want on my conscience. So if you text me when I'm driving, that you are not getting a response until I'm done or hit a stoplight or a safe place in my mind. So and I drive far distances. So there will be 45-minute gaps, an hour and a half gap. You just got to get used to it. Sorry. not trying to, do anything against you or anybody,
Yeah.
but you're right. That whole texting thing is a issue. I mean, people are very impatient. I think that's what it relates to with technology.
Yes.
That has made us very impatient. We are a world of
We're
instant.
Yeah, instantly. And I just want to say that was not John who made that comment. It was
Oh,
Bob.
sorry.
Correction. He
Yes,
corrected me.
Bob.
It was not John. It was Bob.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah. She's pronouncing
Sorry about
all
that.
of your
Yeah, all of it. But I want to
Bob.
say something about that you're talking about, the whole texting thing and not getting that immediate response.
Yeah.
Because we do live in a society of we need an instant answer because of texting. And when people are not getting that right away, like you're talking about the dudes, that's their distorted thinking, because they are thinking and fantasizing about all these things that are going on for the reasons that you haven't responded.
Right.
That's catastrophic thinking. Oh my God, he hates me. Well,
Right.
hello. Maybe
What?
he has a life and is doing something that actually has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And
First
just
of all,
because you might have some time on your hands
that's
doesn't mean
right.
I do.
But that's catastrophic thinking right away, going to the worst case scenario that
Right.
well, Gino hasn't texted me because he hates me. So
Yeah.
that's totally distorting the reason why you haven't texted, right?
Right.
So if you're that kind of person and that's happening to you, and of course, we live in this generation of increased anxiety because we're not getting a response right away. We do.
Oh.
We do. People like freak out because somebody hasn't
I
responded to their
appreciate
text.
when my phone isn't going off.
Yes. So I'm going to challenge you guys, if you're one of those persons, is to ask yourself, is there a reason maybe Gino has not replied instantly to my text?
Right. Shit.
Could it be that he's working? Could it be that he's eating? Could it be that he has a life and, and that he still loves you and he will respond later?
Thank you.
So it's asking those questions to attack that distorted way of thinking of the reality that's in front of you.
Right.
It's
And when I
not.
do respond, it doesn't make a great conversation to start it off with, like, what the fuck? I was trying to text you. Like,
then you're like, fuck, I don't want to text you anyway.
yeah, then I do say that. I go, so then why the fuck am I texting you then? Oh, no, but I needed to tell you something. Okay, well, what, you wanted to give me shit first? Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't start off the conversation too well.
Not at all.
But that is a perfect example of cognitive disordered thinking in today's world. That is I hear about this all the time, or if you text or message somebody, they haven't had a reply.
Right.
And I think, oh my God, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
All or nothing again. So all or nothing, blaming the other person or yourself, discounting that there could be actually a good reason why it hasn't happened. And we get stuck in the should have. Well, he should have replied by now.
Right. I hear that. Yeah. Why didn't they reply? They should have by now. What the fuck?
Should have.
You're right. That comes out a lot. Yeah.
Should have.
Right. Should have.
And they have their whole story about what that's going on. And if we take it one step further, and if you are one of these people, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just saying you're struggling, obviously, and you need to reframe.
Yeah.
But if we go deeper, if I really want to become very psychoanalytic about this stuff, I would challenge you to think about where that distorted thinking comes from.
Okay.
Where does it come from? And I'll tell you again, I always say, we're not
are some
blaming your
examples?
parents,
Yeah.
but you learned it somewhere in your family of origin on how to deal with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because we learn from our friends too. So you
Yes.
can't just always say
Not
family.
always family, but we learn, and then we of course use it and play it out in our adult relationships today, which we just can't do. It doesn't work. That kind of stuff belongs where it happened, and you need to work that out. And I'm not going to get into the therapy of that.
Sure.
But I just want to say it is so important to learn to reframe a situation and attack our distorted thinking, because our thinking leads to a way of feeling and it leads to our actions. It's all connected.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you guys a really fun example to play with.
Okay. All right.
And this was in graduate school. I remember, we were in class of 6. We're doing
You still remember that?
Yeah, of course. I love grad school. It was the best time of my life. I'm not that old, Gino. Don't bring up my age.
I did it. I'm kidding. I got to give you
but this is a really good example of how our thinking affects what we feel about a situation and then what we're going to do with it. Okay.
Okay.
So if I give you the scenario, and you guys on my Instagram or YouTube can also chime in, think about this. Okay. You're upstairs in your bedroom and you hear a noise downstairs.
Okay.
How do you feel? How are you going to feel, Gino?
Well, be quite honest, I grab my 9mm and I walk downstairs and see what's going on.
Okay. That's based on what?
the fact that I grew up in a very rough neighborhood and that people got robbed a lot. So if I hear a noise that I'm not expecting, I assume that there must be something going on that I need to take care of. And
wait, we don't even have to go that far.
Oh, okay.
Where does that come? That feeling and the action. So the feeling is I've got to go. The feeling is a fear. Right.
Well, I'm not fearful right away. I'm just wondering what the hell was that?
Yes, I know. But what the hell was that is not like, what the hell was that? It wasn't
right. It's not a positive.
Yes.
You're right.
It was a negative emotion.
Negative reaction. Right.
And your action is to pick up your gun.
Yeah.
Right. And go downstairs and attack the guy.
Yeah.
To get to a very simple level is your thought was that somebody is breaking into your house. It originated in your thought.
Right.
I could be thinking, oh my God, I feel so happy. I'm going to run downstairs. It means my son's home.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do you see what I'm saying? It originates with a thought. That's my whole purpose of that example. And the teachers too. I thought it was quite amazing because in a room of 10 people, we all had a different feeling and we had a different action. But the whole point is that was it came from what? A thought.
A thought.
So your thought was somebody's breaking into my house.
Yeah.
My thought was my son is home. So my emotions and my actions were indicative of what I was thinking. That's my whole point.
Okay. So I should reframe.
Well,
maybe
no, but that's been your
because
experience.
It's just the experience. Okay.
Yeah, that's been your experience.
So there's no wrong or right to this.
There's not a wrong or right. It's basically to illustrate that what we feel and what we do with those feelings is based on a thought that we have. Okay. And sometimes we're not even conscious of that thought.
Right. Right.
Right? Because I asked you and you went all the way to your history. I'm like, whoa, we don't even have to go there. I just wanted to know what made you feel that you should reach out for your gun and then go downstairs.
Oh, I thought that what that question meant. What did you, or why did I feel that way? Because we were just talking about how your experiences.
But you see how it's so automatic and unconscious that you went all the way there. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that. So the whole point was that sometimes a lot of the times we are thinking consciously and unconsciously, and we're feeling and behaving on that thought. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Because you said one thing and I said another.
Totally different.
And it was all based on
never
our
heard
thought.
that. Yeah, never even heard that response. I'm used to the negative response because of the social circle that I have and where I come from. It's just that's how we grew up. Weird, odd noises, whether it be. And you didn't really mention a time of day, because that would also change my thoughts. If it were early in the morning, like pre-dawn hours.
But I get it. There's there's no right or wrong. It's really about, it doesn't matter when. I would ask you.
For me, the thought would change based on the time of day.
Yeah, but my whole point is your emotions are a function of what you were thinking.
Sure.
Right? That's my whole point.
Gotcha.
It originates with a thought, and then you have an emotion to that thought, and then you're going to have an action. Right?
Okay.
My thought is, okay, my son's coming home. I feel so happy. I'm going to run down the stairs. But you're right. If my son was not supposed to come home and I'm hearing some noise downstairs, my thought is going to be that somebody's breaking into my house. My emotion, my feeling is going to be, shit, I'm scared.
Right.
My action is going to be, I'm going to call the police.
Right.
Or I'm going to grab a gun. I am packed.
There you go.
But it's
all right.
It's all right. So again, the thinking, the feeling, and the action, that's why reframing is so important when we're in a situation, because then our emotions and our actions are going to be a function of that. And if our thinking is distorted, guess what? The outcome is going to be pretty negative.
It will be. Yeah, and negativity and negative reactions are huge these days.
Oh, here, well, I just want to comment on something.
Yeah.
No one ever takes long to reply, but that's part of the problem. If you think that way, that no one takes so long to reply.
Sounds like a person who gets a little irritable when they don't get their response right away.
Well, some people do, but that's part of the problem is that we expect people to reply right away.
See, I don't. If I send you a text, I don't mind when you answer it. I just sent it out. You can give me your answer whenever you're ready. And then if you do wait a day, 2 days, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a, hey, man, what the fuck? That was Monday.
But
you
I
know?
get it. I get what he's coming from because this is a society
This
that
is
we
where
live
we
in.
at.
I send you a text, it's instantaneous. And the worst part about it, this is getting really good.
Uh-oh,
Now I'm
I
going to get
think-
really excited.
I think I know where you
When
might
people
say.
have their seen or their read,
Okay.
you know, it tells you that the person has read it. Oh my God.
That's what I was
This
going to
kills
say too.
people.
Yeah, I know you saw it. Yeah.
No, you and I are laughing about it, but
Yeah.
there was a study recently done at Stanford University. And it was, young people again, and they were measuring anxiety. They said, oh my God, once they have seen that the person has read or seen that text and did not get a reply, the distortions,
Okay, yes.
the distortions that go on in their head are catastrophic.
Wow.
And they're so anxious and depressed. I'm serious. This
What were
causes
some
so
of
much
the
anxiety.
What were some of the responses you heard? Or do you remember?
Oh, they were like, oh, that person hates me. And if it was a dating
Hates me?
situations, even was, oh my God, the date didn't go too well. Oh my God, they're not responding to me. What's wrong with me? It all becomes about all the negative stuff.
Oh, I would hate the date today and
my
lose
God, it
a
would
date
be.
because I didn't text right away.
So you know what I do? I turn the scene and the
Yeah.
red off because I don't want to be causing somebody anxiety.
Yeah.
And some people use it to cause anxiety.
They
See, I'm
do.
mad at you.
Yeah.
And then you send me a text and I'm like, I'm going to see it. And he knows that I saw it. I'm not going to fucking respond to that. And I hope he's fucking stewing because I'm not responding.
Wow.
There's all of that game
Yeah.
playing that goes
Damn.
on. Damn it. I'm so glad I'm not done.
For real? You're making me a lot more happy to be married.
Oh God. But you, I can see how they can happen because we live in a world of, I sent somebody a text, they should respond right away. But also I want to say we also have patterns, right? So
Yeah.
I know between you and I, did you like that I clarified right away to you? I said, Gino, I'll text you, but I don't expect a response from you.
Right.
I'm just texting you because I'm an early bird.
I noticed you had to say that.
I had to say
And I'm reading it like, why the fuck does she need to explain to me? But
because I'm
I
trying
guess
to
this is a
avoid.
problem.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to avoid a situation because
Yeah.
when I get thoughts and ideas, I'm like, I'm going to text Gino, but I just wanted you to know that, heads up, I'm not going to be mad if you're not going to respond to me because
Right.
I've had a situation where people are like, oh my God, you didn't respond to me. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
generally don't respond right away.
no,
And
I'm
no
doing
need to
shit.
get so worried and have all these
Right.
distortions.
It's not you. Yeah. Stop doing that.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's-
We have some questions. What's the
Nice.
red is displayed? There is an internal clock starting on how long it takes for you to reply. Yes, absolutely.
sure
But
is.
that's part of the problem. So I don't want to know. So I think like these, people who design these apps, I'm like, why did they put that in there to cause us more anxiety and
I
stress?
think they might have thought that out.
I don't want to know that you've seen my text and you're not responding. I have sent it. And then you'll respond. Because remember when we just used to call and we didn't have texting
Yeah,
or
for
all
real.
that?
Yeah.
I'd call you, I'd leave a message.
Yeah.
There'll be no like stress in my life about, oh my God, Gino
No.
didn't call me right away. Because I'd be like, well, he's working from 9 to 5. He'll probably call me tonight.
Right.
Today, it's like, even if you're working
You
and
could
you send
still-
out that text, there is this assumption that you're going to text me right away
Yeah.
or there's something wrong.
Yeah. And I've even gotten, because I do the same thing with my iPhone. I don't allow it to show you that I've read
Mhm.
it, or at least I think I do. Sometimes I don't know if I've turned it on right or not. Anyway, but what I've gotten also from people is that they'll be around me.
Yeah.
Face to face, right? So we'll be around each other. Then when we leave each other's presence and they text me and I don't respond quick, they'll tell me things like, well, when I was with you, you were always on your phone anyway. So how come all of a sudden now you're not on your phone?
Yes.
What? Because you were with me and you
Yes.
saw me on my phone. You assume that that's all I ever do.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so they claim to know your phone usage pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that's the case, pay my bill, motherfucker. Right? I
Right,
mean, if you're going to be
right.
that involved with me and you know how much I use my phone, then pay the bill.
But isn't it sad that we spend so much time and energy on
Oh, it
trying to
is.
figure out
It is.
why Gino hasn't responded
Yeah.
to my text?
No shit.
Right? Then
No shit.
if I suffer from this cognitive distortion, negative thinking, catastrophic thinking, that's a lot of energy and negativity that's going to cause me some anxiety.
No shit.
Right?
It
and I'm
is.
thinking, oh
It
my God,
does.
it does. Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. All the research is saying that it does.
Sure.
That's why helping people to reframe what they're thinking is so important. And I spend a lot of time in session, I hate to say it, about helping people do this with regards to communication through technology, texting in particular.
Yeah.
so and so hasn't responded in a day. They must hate me. I'm like, well, could there be other reasons?
Man, I mean, could there be other reasons? Could there just be the fact that they
Yes.
are a person and they have a lot of things to
Yeah.
do other than
So
talk to
yeah.
you? Yeah, I get it.
So
But
we need to recognize
Yeah.
it. We need to work on reframing that.
you ever see a shift back to how it kind of was? I mean, I know it won't
Yes.
ever change. It's good. Technology will be here. Cell phones are
Yes.
going to be here, right?
Yes.
Computers, all this.
So we need to learn to work with them. So I'm not a poo of technology. I
Yeah.
absolutely love technology because look at the beauty of
No, of
technology,
course.
right? And
yes,
it brought
a
us
very good
together.
tool.
Yeah, very good tool.
Yeah.
However, it should not replace communication face to face, verbal, physical
Right.
communication with each other.
Yes.
And we need to, I guess, have a real conversation around the boundaries around texting because it's convenient. It's amazing for certain things,
right.
but it should not replace a conversation to be had with someone. I think it's beautiful for saying, Gino, I'll be there in 5 minutes, or Gino, I can't show up today because this happened.
Right.
Talk to you later. Goodbye. Thank you.
Right.
Right. But to have resolve conflict or figure something out, problem solve,
Yeah.
it is not the way to do it. And we need to stop doing that. And there is, I would say now I'm seeing, and I'm encouraging people
Mhm.
To go back to basics of communication through the telephone, talking.
Yeah, that ain't.
People,
I don't know.
my son's like, what? What?
Yeah, I
I'm
don't-
like, you know what this thing does? You could actually dial and talk.
Yeah.
So I, get together. Like once COVID is down, we can actually get together.
Yeah.
So aside from COVID, we need to be able to be face to face again with each other and not be so reliant on texting to
Mhm.
connect.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, I think you're right because these, like my young son, he'll be with his friends in the same room and they're texting instead of talking.
Mhm.
What is that? But I know that's what they've grown up with, and I just hope to see it sort of scale back a little because you're right. Technology is a beautiful tool. So is a screwdriver. But do we need to use that screwdriver every day? No. And we
No,
use
we
it for
don't.
certain things
Yes.
as well. Even if you say yes to that question, but you're not going to use it for every single thing
No.
throughout the day. But we use our phone for every single thing. You want to show me what you're eating.
Yes.
You want to show me
Yeah,
where
I
you're
know.
sitting. You want
Yeah.
to show me. Why do I need all
You
that?
don't need to know that. I just want to say, Gino,
Yeah, I'm
is
sorry.
the
Go ahead.
F.M.P app not working? Zach is saying app isn't working for me today. Don't know why. Thank you for IG. Loving the show. Thank you so much, Zach. What's the red display?
No, we're live on the app. If you might just want to refresh, there's a refresh button on the
Yeah,
app.
Zach-
Sometimes you have to refresh it and it'll come on. But
Try
the
that
app
out,
is
Zach.
working. We're
Yeah.
also live on our YouTube page, FMP Radio for YouTube.
Try it out.
Sorry if you're having problems.
Yeah,
what was
try it
that
out.
young man's name?
Zach.
Zach. Sorry, Zach.
He's
but
awesome. He's always
it
connecting.
is working.
Thank you, Zach.
Use the dots in between the FM and for FMP. So as long as you got the right app, it just sounds like you need to refresh it, Zach. But no,
Yeah, sorry
thank you.
for interrupting your thought.
No,
were
you're
saying
good.
something.
You're
Yeah.
good. I mean, it just ties into what you're saying, and I just hope to see a scale back of it.
Yes.
I hope to get away from all these food pics and every second of the day thinking that
Nobody cares.
someone cares about that to a point where it consumes my whole day.
Yes.
And that's also what I don't like too. It's making our youngsters unproductive. I don't raise my children this way, so they are, to me, which is a shame to have to say, but almost like an exception to the rule. My son pays for his date's dinner. My son doesn't allow his date to have to hold a door or anything like that. And whether or not she finds that to be okay or not, he's going to always do it simply because that's what I've taught him.
Yes.
So I want to see parents and next generation step up and use the tool. Show your kids how to use the internet. Of course, it's great for information. It's great to connect to people in other places, right? We were once grown up just in a neighborhood and we called it, that was our life. Now you can expand and be in other people's neighborhoods virtually. And it's
Yes,
great.
You can. And it's wonderful.
Right. It is. But we got to disconnect at some point from that and reconnect to each other because the technology is not human. It's not going to give you that real emotion. And looking at someone's beautiful picture, especially for guys, man, I'm talking to you guys for sure. Don't always believe these ladies' pics, man. Just because they look good in that angle, that's exactly what it is. It's an angle. It's a filter. Go out there and get to meet them. Go out there and get to know them. Go take them for a coffee, a tea, whatever the fuck. You don't have to try to meet up and always have sex. Just go out there and look. talk. Put the phone in your
Yeah.
pocket and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Look at each other in the
Have
eyes.
a
Eye
meeting face
connection
to
is,
face.
yeah, eye contact
Yes.
is so important to me, especially when you're talking to someone and you're going to develop a relationship. You got to look at them in the eye. You got to know what they're thinking. I mean, I don't know. This is me, of course, my generation, but I want to see the future generations, like my son, who is
Yes.
going to teach his kids a lot differently because he is growing up a lot differently than his peers. He asks me questions about his peers all the time, and I'm like, son, I can't answer that.
No, you got to ask them.
Yeah,
So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. I'm doing that same thing with my kids. And I
sure.
encourage other parents to also do that, like you, when they
Always.
come to see me and their challenges with technology. My kid is addicted to his phone or her
Sure.
phone. And I'm thinking, okay, you're still the parent.
Right.
You pay for that thing.
You know?
So you better put some rules and boundaries around it.
Right.
Who is the parent in the situation?
Yes.
So their thinking is distorted, thinking somehow that the kids are running the show. I'm like, well, you're letting them. So you got to take
Right.
back the reins and you got to
Right.
work on yourself, or you can teach the children. Technology is amazing. Let's
Beautiful.
use it for the beauty that it brings into our lives,
Yeah.
connecting in different ways.
Right.
But we need to be able to put it in place and again teach our children that the value of a conversation, a verbal conversation,
Yeah.
can never be replaced through text messaging.
Not at
You know,
all.
right now, and it's been wonderful through COVID that we're able to do FaceTime and Zoom.
Yeah.
But once we can meet with each other again, we need to go back to that.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So to answer your question initially, you said, is there a coming back to this? Absolutely, there's a coming back to
Okay.
it. There's a lot of stuff on social media, you know, and people say, well, they're using the social media and they're dissing social media. I said, all with some balance. You know, why does it have to be
Right.
this extreme? We don't have to hate it,
Right.
but we can also turn it off at times.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we should. I think we should teach that,
Mhm.
bring back the connection, the human connection
The
with
human
people.
connection, talking to each other,
Yeah.
spending time with each other,
Right.
and putting the phone away.
You know? Yes, yes. And I know today with families not growing up in the same neighborhoods or the same areas, you know, you don't really have that longevity anymore that you would once hear of, where the whole family grew up in the same area. They all know the people around them.
Yes, people
So we're all living
migrating.
in different places, and that's where it's beautiful. It
Yes, we
connects
can
us.
connect. And I have family
Yeah.
all over the U.S., all over the
Exactly,
world.
exactly.
But you know, bringing it back to, like you said, within your own family and your household,
Yeah.
having certain rules. And I have to, and I sometimes I
that's
think I
important.
can't believe I have to teach people this
Isn't
stuff.
it something?
Yes, at the
A
dinner
rule.
table, there's no technology, and I
You
tell.
know?
And some people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, well I'm like, what the hell are you doing?"
Right.
I have a basket, and I always have, where all the technology phones, and it's been since day one. These rules, you know,
Okay.
they didn't just come about.
Sure.
My son probably got his phone when he was about 13, I think, and my
Okay.
daughter was sooner.
Yeah.
But the rules always were that when we're at the table together, there is no
Phone down.
phone unless we're going to take a picture.
Okay.
And you know, we're on
then
vacation or
that's
something.
it,
That's
yeah.
fine, but the phone goes away.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
time and a place, and we need to regulate
Yeah,
that.
and that's how you get to know your kids, people. That's how you get to know what's
Yes,
going on
talk
in their
to
life
them.
and yeah, the things that they need and want. And I love talking to my son. We have long conversations, and that's where the anxiety from those who are texting me. If I'm talking to my son or daughter,
You're
I
not
don't care.
answering the
I don't care if
phone,
it's the
right.
fucking president. You're
Yeah.
not getting a response until I'm done with my son or daughter. That is
Mm-hmm.
those are precious moments. And if you choose to pick up your phone and text while your kid, because I've seen parents doing this too, and I don't go into your, like, if I see you doing it, I'm not going to sit there and tell you,
Yeah.
but I've seen it, and it kind of disturbs me that the kid is talking to you,
Yeah.
and
they're
as
on
a
their
parent,
phone.
you're in your phone doing some sort of food pick, and it's like, and then the kid, then you wonder why they don't want to talk to you anymore after that. So right, we're missing those opportunities, and those are special moments because you
They
will
are.
you will really trip on how much they're paying attention to what you're responding back to.
Mhm.
And if you keep ignoring them,
Yeah.
then they just
And then
go
also,
away.
you know, what are you modeling to them? You're
Yeah.
modeling to them that it's okay to do that, and they're going to do that in their own relationships. And
yeah.
I see that the kids are together, but they're on their phone together. I'm thinking, wait a minute, guys, are you hanging out together? Or
Right. That's
you're
what I
sitting
was
on the
saying.
same couch, but
Yeah.
you're texting.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're
Right.
missing the whole experience. And I've
What
had to, when my
the
daughter
hell?
was younger, I'd say, okay, girls, we're going to put the phones away, and you're actually having a hangout, whatever it is they call it. It's not a play date anymore because
Right.
they're too old.
Oh,
But let's
okay.
put the phones away. You're in my house. Like,
Yeah,
seriously, get off your
right.
phones and do something.
Why did you want to come over then if you were just going to do this? Yeah.
But, you know, you have parents who let that go on. I'm thinking, okay, no, parents, if you're going to have a whole bunch of kids at your house, get them to do stuff together, right? Because otherwise, why are they in my
Interact.
house? Go in your
Yeah.
own house.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you don't let them do that, then you wonder why you're battling all these problems, because then they don't even know how to act with each
They
other.
don't know.
Then there's a problem. He
Yes.
said this, she said that, they said this. Yeah, it is. That's why I was saying earlier, I hope there's some sort of rebound from this. That
There
we,
is.
we get back to that at some point.
We are getting back to that. And the other thing I want to point out about this, which is really interesting to me, and I've had that personal experience myself being on social media,
Sure.
is that people, and somebody wrote this to me, and I love this: cowards behind keyboards.
Oh yeah.
People will write all kinds of shit to you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, dude, if you were in front of me, would you really say that to me?
Exactly.
Probably not.
Yes.
So seriously, you got a lot of balls behind that keyboard. But if I were actually to
yeah.
see you in person, I doubt that you pulled out your dick and put it on the table.
We call them internet thugs. Yeah.
Because I take out my knife and chop that thing off.
Lorena Bobbitt all over again. Yeah, man.
But it's so true, right?
But right, you're not gonna whip
Come
out your junk
on.
and show it off any other time.
You'd be arrested, number
right.
one.
Yeah, exactly. It is against the law, isn't it? And then number two, we know that is disrespectful as hell, and there is no need for it. But for some reason, the internet has given us that confidence.
Yes, like they can say all this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like if I saw you in person and we met, say, at a bar or something, I doubt that you'd even talk to me. And I'm not saying that to be a snob, but all of a sudden you have this courage behind your keyboard to send me really rude and disgusting messages that you would never say to me in person, because you wouldn't have, and I'd freaking slap you in the face anyway. But there's a certain amount of confidence and cockiness. But I'm thinking then you lose perspective in terms of how to behave. Right? This is not how you behave.
No, that is. And I want to ask your mother and father why they think their son needs to whip out his junk and show somebody. I mean, she'll ask you if she wants to see it.
Yeah.
And if she does, then you do it then. But you don't
in
need
the privacy of whatever.
Right. You don't need to go do that. And I had to have that conversation with my son, because the girls his age now, they do send sexual pictures. They do. And it is a very slippery slope, I told them, because you're dealing with someone who has a mother and a father, and if they don't, they have brothers and sisters and whatever. There is somebody, basically bottom line is everyone has someone who cares about them. And if you disrespect them, they are going to make it a big deal, I'm sure, just like I would. If my daughter's being disrespected, I get involved. I don't care that she's 22, about to be 23. I tell people all the time, you can tell me, and whether it's right or wrong, that I interfere with certain things in her life. I say, as long as I'm breathing, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
That's just who I am.
Yeah, I'm your dad.
Right.
We have here. What's the interview about? I just joined in. Well, we are talking about.
They at the tail end.
Yeah, that's okay. We're talking about cognitive reframing, which is basically helping people to look at the situation in a very different way. Sometimes when we are not able to do that, our thinking of the situation is very distorted, and we resort to things like all or nothing thinking, blaming, catastrophic thinking, should have, and discounting any positives that are happening in our lives. So we need to change the way we think about our situation, which in turn, changes the way we feel, and then we act. So, and we were just talking about some of the stuff that happens online that makes us think a different way about what's really going on, when a lot of that is distorted reality, and we need to be able to make sense of it. And today it's difficult for young kids. I feel for them.
It is.
Teenagers.
It's very difficult. He has a hell of a time trying to connect with his friends. They don't share a lot of the same values and concepts that he brings, and then for that they give him shit about it. They call
his
him
friends
names.
Do?
They call him names and things, and try to test his again, like these so-called internet thugs. They'll write him negative messages. My son didn't grow up a lot with me in the house. I was touring at the time. So he grew up with his mom or his grandmothers, his godmother. They were very influential in raising him at a younger age because I was gone. So he is very close with women. He can talk to a girl just like a guy, and the girls love it because he is not after anything. He knows his boundaries. He knows his place. And he knows their feelings. He grew up again with them. So he knows that I shouldn't say these things, do these things, but he's also conflicted because his friends are trying to say, no, you should be doing this and that. So he's like, Dad, what do I do?
Well, that's the role confusion that I was talking about. He doesn't know what his role is supposed to be.
Right.
Traditionally, he knows, right?
Okay.
But he's been raised differently. And then he's trying to put this image together.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about, that couples struggle with this today.
Sure.
I'm supposed to be like this, but I grew up like this. Social media is telling me this.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah,
right?
right.
I'm thinking, no wonder everybody's so confused about what's then of course that leads to expectations and distorted expectations of what in a relationship should happen.
And then these distorted expectations, his friends assume that he's just well, I'm gonna just say it. We're not filtered, but they call him a pussy or
very derogatory.
Yeah, you're just
stop being a pussy, man up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, he's being respectful. He's being a gentleman.
Yes,
these are things that we should strive to be, not sit there and think that we could just disrespect. So no, it is. It's a totally different world. I get it. I know our parents said the same fucking thing to us. I remember hearing it as a youngster. Oh, in my day, you guys did, So it's like, okay, I get it sometimes, and I sometimes back myself up just because I can't force the 90s on him.
No, you can't, and you don't want to, and it never will be because of technology and social media platforms and so forth. But and it's not, it's not going anywhere. No. So it's really learning to live with it with certain rules and guidelines and regulating. If your kids are living with you and you own that technology by paying for it, you are the boss of it. So put some rules around
and reframe it, because you man, I had a thought, like we do try to sometimes tell them things. I think we should reframe that and do those things
ourselves,
so that they see it. Model it, show them. And that's where I see my son pays attention. I notice it with our conversations. For instance, he just had a conversation with me the other day about wanting to go to his girlfriend's house. Would you let me go there? And I'm like, well, are parents going to be there? Well, maybe one of them will. And I'm like, what do you mean maybe? So what are you going to do? And then nothing, we're just friends. We've been friends for 2 years, which I go, bing, that's dope. He actually took some time to get to know this young lady.
You did
and
a
then
good job.
Number 2, he's saying how he's respectful. I'm respectful of that. I don't want that. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to hang out. So is he but my mind is, 16, I was sexually active. So is he really trying to go and get some, or does he really want to go watch a movie? But
can it be a combination of both, right? That he's a young, healthy 16-year-old, and you don't want to impede or interfere with his sexual curiosity. You don't.
Right. And one of my moments in my mind was, get him, attack him, don't let him do it. Then I went, no, back off. You know what, son? If you're going to do that, I'm giving you a condom. If you're going to do it, please just try to use some positive judgment. And do you really need to do this right now? Are you really trying to, again, going to STDs? These things are way different. We knew about syphilis and all this and that, but today they're being called super STDs. What the fuck that is, I don't even want to find out.
I don't know that.
And I'm telling them, do you want to find out about super? I think there was something called super herpes out here right now. Okay. Yeah, it's a new strain of it that is very hard to control, very hard. And his friends think it's cool because I told them about when they see. Seriously, this was a serious conversation I had. I said, son, what do you guys do in school when you see someone with the herpes bump on their lip? Do you guys go, ew, we used to talk about you. That would be something we would point you out on.
Right.
He goes, no, they think it's normal today. They say, oh, it's okay. I'll go to the clinic and get a shot for that. Really? You're
they're comfortable with that?
Yeah. His friends say, oh, there's a shot for that. So what's the big deal? I totally pumped the brakes on that and said, don't you ever say. He's like, no, I don't think that's cool at all. So
it's not cool.
Yeah, reframe it, parents. Practice it, show it, and they're gonna get it.
Yeah, saying that it's cool is distorted thinking, and we gotta change that.
Right. Thinking that you can't control the phone time, or like Anita said, create a way to show them. Put your phone in the basket,
Yeah.
sit down and have a meal. When you're done and we excuse ourselves, you can grab your
and
phone.
it doesn't have to be perfect. My
It's
daughter
never
calls me out
perfect.
all the time. Sometimes I'm on my phone, I'm like, Sarah, put your phone down. She'll be like, oh, Mom, you're on. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah.
Right, you're not setting the example. Yeah, okay.
But they're good. They'll call you out on it, right?
Hey,
at
and
least
she's
I'm
paying
trying.
attention. And she's paying attention.
She's
So
holding me accountable.
She heard the rule and
Yes.
is wondering why you're not
Yes.
following.
So
Exactly.
it's okay not to be perfect.
Right.
Parent,
We're not. And
So
you
then
should
I'm like,
never
oh,
think
shit.
you are. Right. Oops. This is important though.
No, and then
It's one of the clients. Yeah.
She'll be like, Mom, you should watch your own IG live on that. I'm like, oh, God.
Dang. Hey, she's smart.
See, kids
She-
call
she's
you out on
learning.
my shit.
She's learning. They call us all out. Shit.
And she's like, I'm going to tell all your followers what you did. I'm like, stop it.
Right. She's blackmailing
Oh,
you now.
blackmail. I said, don't forget who pays for all your pretty things.
You know. Oh man, but it's been so long.
Yes.
We've gone over like we
great
always do.
conversation.
Yeah, it's
And
always fun.
this conversation about the texting and the anxiety and the young people needs to be continued and talked about further, especially in the
Yes.
dating world. Not even just the youngsters, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s after being divorced or widowed, trying to date.
Yeah.
But the world of dating is very different to when they were doing it before. I get questions about this all the time. My wife died or I'm divorced, and now at 40 I'm dating, but oh my God. I'm like, okay, yeah, oh my God, it's a different landscape out there.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing throughout this whole conversation. Like, man, if I had to do that, wow. It'd be a mess. It would. It'd be hard to understand. And
I'll help you.
No,
Hopefully that's not going to happen.
You won't. Yeah.
That's
no.
not going to happen. You
That's
guys
not
are
happening
dating.
with
It's not
me.
happening.
But for you
We're
youngsters
helping our
listening,
kids through it, right?
Yeah, helping our kids
helping our
and
kids.
in your profession, you can help those adults that have
Yes.
to. And
it is a
it's-
struggle. It is a real struggle today.
I'm sure. But nothing's impossible.
Nothing
And
is.
with good guidance and good wisdom, they will be just fine.
We will, as long as we keep talking about it.
Yep. And Anita will give you that good wisdom and good advice. So hit her up. Make sure you go onto her IG. It's Ask Anita Astley. Use the underscores though.
Thank you.
Yeah, always connect, always tune in. We appreciate everyone that has today.
Thank you so
And
much, guys.
We look forward to the next one. I know we normally do Wednesdays, but this Wednesday I have to take my grandma to get her COVID shot.
Okay. Oh,
So,
good for you.
Yeah, if her kids
for
would
grandma.
step up, and I'm putting them on blast. If her kids stepped up and did their job, I wouldn't have to. So
Wow.
let's reframe. Instead of the
that.
grandson taking care of his grandmother, maybe the daughter can do it, or her other son that's alive can do it. See, they destructive
We don't know what
thinking.
they're thinking. So.
Yeah, exactly. So catastrophic. Yeah, I
could
know what
be.
they're thinking,
Yeah.
and it's bullshit. But anyway,
There you go.
that's the end of the
Could
show.
it be a different way of thinking about it, Gino?
No, I know what the fuck I'm thinking about. I'm firm in my
You got it
position.
right.
Yeah.
But I will be doing my IG live on Thursday, guys, from 5 to 6 p.m. if you guys want to join
Tune
me. And
in.
we'll be back on Monday.
We'll be back on Monday.
Meanwhile, send me your comments and your questions, and I'll
Yes.
be happy to put them in my storage and answer them next week.
Always. Yeah.
Thank
But
you, guys.
Great having you. Stamp is not with us today. He is on the
We
plane
missed you,
flying
Stamp.
home. So we're going to end this here with Anita Astley. Normally we go about another hour, but without the co-host, there's just no reason to keep it moving. We're just going to go right to the app. You can enjoy listening to all the beautiful things on the app, or go to the YouTube page, F.M.P. Radio, and check out the weekend we just had. There's plenty of content
much fun.
and information. Anita was with us yesterday at the contouring event. And
That was cool.
That was neat,
It
huh?
was booty lift.
Yeah. Anita might go in. We might have to show you a before and after. I think hubby might like that. Why
There's
not?
no booty of Anita's
not?
on
Come
Instagram ever. That's never gonna happen. Okay, that's
No, not on
distorted
Insta.
thinking.
Not on Insta, but I'm saying
on anywhere. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Gino.
10-4. I guess that's not happening. That was catastrophic of
Yeah,
me.
That was distorted thinking on
Distorted
your part.
thinking. Yes. But everybody have a safe
Thank
day,
you.
a rest of your Monday. Enjoy the beginning of the week. Like Anita said in her post earlier, some people don't like Mondays, but it is a fresh start to a new week. And you can always start over on a Monday and make it different for you. If it didn't work out last week, it's a new day. It's a new era. Don't sit there and think too much about it and have those catastrophic thoughts.
Reframe it.
Reframe. Yeah. But you guys enjoy it. Stay safe. COVID is real. So put your mask on, use some hand sanitizer. Don't be a dick. All right. Do your part. We appreciate every single one of you. Anita, thank you so much as always
Thank
for coming
you
in and
to all
being
my
with us.
followers and
We love
everybody else.
having you. Missed you last week for sure. Glad to have this. This hour went so damn fast as it always does because it's a great time. Time flies when you're having fun. That is a real statement, you guys. But this has been another episode of Middle School Music, the Ask Anita Astley Hour right here on Middle School Music. Music with the IQ, because we drop knowledge. I want you guys to tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here. We will be live with COVID-free S.T.A.M.P. He'll tell you all about the weekend he had here in Chicago. I know you want to know about it. So tune in tomorrow with us, and we'll see you then. Until then, be safe, be good, and I will see you when I see you. All right, y'all have fun. Be good. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Riddle me this.
F.M.P. Radio. We keep it 100.